This will be a short video on how to do linear equation and graph style questions on paper 3 of the IGCSE Maths core. Let's just get right into this. Alright, so for the first question, they just want us to write down the coordinates of A. So we're going to look over here on the x-axis, and then we're going to go up on the y-axis. And in this case, we go over 5 and up 6, so we're just going to write down 5, 6 in our answer box. That one is only 1 point, so that's why it's so quick. The next one is 3. So find the equation of a line L in the form y equals mx plus c. So our line L is labeled here. This is the line L. So C is the easiest one to find. We just look where it crosses the y-axis, and that's our y-intercept. So C is the y-intercept, and in this case it's equal to 3. Next, we need to figure out what M is. So we're going to look at the graph and try to find a point on the line where the line crosses this dotted grid, because those are the easiest for us to calculate. So I'm going to use this one. This point is the point 0, 3. And then down here, I'm going to use this point 2. This is the point 5, negative 1. Alright, so our slope is equal to the change in y, or the delta y, over the change in x, or the delta x. So I'm going to do the rest of this up here so it's a little bit more clear. So imagine we're trying to get from this point to this point. In order to do that, we need to go down 4. So down is going to be negative and 4 spaces. And then we need to go over, or to the right, so that's going to be positive 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what this means is that this is our delta y equals negative 4, delta x equals 5. If m is equal to, sorry, wrong color, delta y divided by delta x, then that means that m is going to be equal to negative 4 divided by 5. Right, so we would just write that down here. Negative 4 divided by 5, we can just write that as write it as negative 4 fifths. And then we've got our c, we've got our m, we just write that down here. So y equals negative 4 fifths x plus 3. Alright, I'm going to erase all of this stuff here, so we have a clear graph. And then we can do the next one. Write down the equation of the line parallel to line L that passes through the point B. So it's parallel to L and passes through B. So what that means is basically we're looking for a line that has the same gradient as the line L. Close enough. And it needs to pass through the point B, which is down here. So that means our line is going to look something like this. look at it, you can see it's basically parallel. It might be a little bit off because of this digital ruler. All right, so they want us to write down the equation. So all that means is we need to be thinking about y equals mx plus c, and we want to find m and c. I'm going to start with c because it's easy. They gave us this point B. The point B is on the y-axis at -2. So that means our y-intercept is -2. Next, we need to find the slope m, which actually is not too difficult because if you look at these two, the first line L had a slope like this, and this one is going to have the same slope. So all that means is m is the same as right here. So m is equal to -4/5. Then we use this equation, y equals mx plus c, and write it down over here. So y is equal to -4/5 x minus 2. And we're done. That's a fairly simple one since it's only 2 points. This next one, I messed up the first run through because I kind of ignored this. I saw C and I was like, okay, I guess I don't even know what I was thinking, honestly. I just made a parallel or a perpendicular line wherever I wanted to. So don't miss this. They want us to have a perpendicular line that goes through this point. So look at these numbers. The x value is 8 and the y is 14. So we look at our graph. X equals 8 would be somewhere over here. And then y equals 14. That's way up here. It's almost off the page. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So our point would be somewhere up here in this area. So we can't just graph it to solve this question because they haven't put the point on the region of the graph that they've given us on the paper. What that means is they want you to do the math to figure it out. All right, so here's how we do that. So the first thing that we need to know is that if we have a perpendicular line, it will have the inverse and opposite sine gradient of the line it is perpendicular to. So I am going to call the slope for this line here, I'm going to call this ML because we've got the L up here. And then for our new perpendicular line, I'm going to call it MC. So we've got the slope of the line L, and then the slope of the line C, or the line that passes through the point C. So MC is going to be equal to the opposite, or the negative, and the inverse of the slope of line L. So MC is equal to negative ML to the negative first power. Now an easier way to write that, or to visualize it, is if we write in the numbers. So we've got negative, the slope of ML from up here, or here, is -4/5. So I'm going to write -4/5 raised to the -1. All right, so this -1 means that we need the inverse of what's in the parentheses. So that's going to be equals -5/4. All right, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So our slope of our new line C is going to be equal to 5/4. All right, so we've got that. Now we need to find the y-intercept C, so like a tiny c. And in order to do that, what do we need to do? We need to take our slope that we found, plug it into the equation, and then also take these x and y coordinates and plug them into the equation. So we've got our equation like this. Y is equal to 5/4 x plus c. And then we need to plug in numbers for x and y from this point up here. And that's going to be y is 14. So we've got 14 is equal to 5/4 times our x, which is 8, plus c. All right, and then we just need to solve for c. So this is fairly basic algebra. You should be able to do it in your head. I'll just write some of the steps out. So we've got 14 is equal to 5/4 times 8. So 5 times 8 is 40/4, which is just 10, plus c. And then subtract 10 from both sides. C is going to be equal to 14 minus 10, which is 4. So now we've got our m and our c. We can write our equation here. That's going to be y is equal to 5/4 x plus 4. And we're done. All right, this one is a little bit more detailed. If you look at it, it is 3 points. So as usual, use the points on the right side here to figure out how difficult a particular question may be. All right, there's the entire set of notes. Let me zoom in a little bit more, if it'll let me. There we go. That should be more than enough. Those are the notes for the problem. Hopefully, if you run across these on an actual exam, hopefully this helps you. And actually, one thing, I'm looking at my notes here, and I forgot, if we were to graph this line, what it would be is, if we look at the graph, we take our ruler out, and we line up the notches, the little marks on the ruler. We want to line them up so that they are in line with our line L. So that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to drag the ruler so the edge crosses over +4. All right, so these marks here are lined up on either side. I've got the ruler lined up with the y-intercept here at y equals 4, and then this is what our perpendicular line would look like if we were to draw it. And actually, I'm going to go way off the page here, well, at least up towards the edge, just to see how inaccurate that point was that I drew earlier. So if we continue this line, this point here that I estimated earlier, you can see it's way off. This is why you can't just draw it and then try and write the equation down from your drawn graph. You need to do the math first. But if you look at this line, it is indeed at a 90-degree angle, so it is perpendicular to the line L. All right, sorry about that. I just realized that when I was looking at the overall notes. There we go. That should be more than enough, again, to help you get better scores on these type of questions if you're taking the IGCSE Maths core